uh, for for an offer, and I want to see that.
Okay, so just to know, WattBox is independent product, so it is not related to home automation or to any other Snap One product that like it is like a mandatory to use with. So you can use it in any project, whatever you have. Just what is important is that you have internet access, so you can be able to register it to our cloud management, which is OVRC. So have you used OVRC so far? Do you have an account on OVRC?
Yeah. I got account because of Control 4, and so is a standalone probably. WattBox is true. Is a
Yes,
standalone.
it is standalone. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it is standalone, but we have driver for WattBox. You can add it to Control 4 if you want it. But just to point out, you do not need to have controller or anything specific in project already in order to use WattBox. So you can put it in any project, whether it is Control 4 or not.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's start with the presentation. So first of all, do you have any question for me before we start? Maybe.
No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, just to point out, you can ask question anytime during the presentation or just write in the chat if it is easier for you.
Okay, thank you.
So don't hesitate to interrupt me at any moment.
Thank you.
No worries. So first of all, just a few words about the OVRC ecosystem. So in general, all our products, they are part of the wider OVRC ecosystem, which is, as you already know, cloud platform for remote monitoring and management. WattBox is also one part of that ecosystem, and the full feature set, the full configuration of WattBox is available only through the OVRC. Of course, WattBox itself, it has its own web interface, local web interface, but there you don't have all the options available. All options are available when you register it on OVRC under OVRC portal. So when we speak about the OVRC, if you have Control 4 home automation, like Control 4 controller, or if you have one of our routers, if it is Arachnis or package router in your projects, you already have on your OVRC site, you already have OVRC Pro agent built in. So you do not need manually to add WattBox. It will be automatically discovered by controller or the router. If you don't have one or the another, in that case, WattBox needs to be added manually using MAC address and serial number. So just to check, of course, when you have Control 4 automation, you certainly have controller, but do you have projects with Arachnis or package router?
I use I didn't use the Arachnis, and so you intend of the supervision or what?
So if you have for example, if you have a Arachnis router, you have OVRC Pro agent on it. So you do not need to add any devices in OVRC.
Okay.
They're automatically discovered and added, but the same feature you have on Control 4 controller as well.
Okay.
The only difference is that if you have multi-VLAN environment, if you have multiple different IP ranges in your local area network, controller is able to discover only devices within its own range, while the router is able to discover all the VLANs and to add devices across all different IP ranges, because IP VLAN interfaces are directly connected to the router.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Oscar.
Hello, Alex. Sorry for the delay. I registered to the meeting, but I didn't get the notification on the calendar.
Okay. I already sent as an attachment in the email the plugin for the calendar. So you just need to add it.
Normally when I because I'm using Outlook, Normally, when I accept the meeting, I always
Already
get
get it in calendar.
Yeah, on the calendar, but I didn't get it this time, and I couldn't find the link.
No worries. Do you know, will Tabitha join us maybe today or?
I don't know.
Okay.
I will check. I don't know if they are on holiday.
Okay, no worries. I already started with the training and just covering the basic things about OVRC and adding the WattBox there.
Yeah,
So
Tabitha is on holiday today.
no problem. So we can continue then. So Alessio, in projects where you have Control 4, your Control 4 controller is acting as OVRC Pro agent, and it will automatically discover WattBox, and you will see it on the OVRC site. If you don't have neither Arachnis router, neither Control 4 controller, if it is some completely different project without any home automation, you need to add WattBox manually by MAC address and serial number. And just remember, in that case, if you have multiple WattBox units, you need to add one by one.
Okay, perfect.
MAC address serial, etc.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's go through the WattBox product portfolio. So what we have from the WattBox, first of all, we have multiple different models depending on the number of power outlets available. That's the main difference. They all provide remote access and management of the power through the OVRC. You can manually do the power cycling. You can do scheduling of the power cycling, and also you receive the status of the power utilized in terms what is the current consumption, what device is connected, etc. And also they all support so-called self-healing, which means you can configure WattBox to automatically restart certain device when it discovers it is offline. So you do not need to do any manual action from your side. It can automatically do it if something drops offline. So main models are with 2 power outlets, 6 power outlets, 8 and 12 power outlets. That is the main difference between those models, and I will go one by one and explain in details what are additional differences between them. And with those 4 models, we have some additional accessories like faceplate, which is just display showing the status of the power outlets. It is completely optional accessory, and also we plan to launch also a WattBox trigger for like a last resort of control of the WattBox when network goes down. So with the button you can directly restart the WattBox itself. So let's start with the model which is the most popular. This is 8 power outlet WattBox, and this is the model which we sell the most. It has built-in display, as you can see on the front side, and that is the only model with built-in display. There you see status LEDs for internet, safe voltage, surge protected, and grounded. So if everything is all right, if WattBox is providing surge protection, if it is grounded, if safe voltage is enabled, and if it is online, all LEDs should be on. So if some of the LEDs is off, that means that feature for some reason is not supported, or maybe by time the WattBox lost that feature and it needs to be replaced. Of course, if we speak about grounding, in that case, we need to check the cable providing the main power to the WattBox itself, just to be sure that it is grounded properly. On the display, we have input voltage, which means we can see what is the voltage of our main electrical network. And on the current display, we can see the current consumption of the selected power outlet. With buttons B1 and B2, we can cycle from 1 to 8 with button B1, or from 8 to 1 with button B2, and select certain outlet and see on the current display what is the current consumption. On the right-hand side, we have accessory power outlet which is not managed, and typically it is used just if you are working in the rack and you need some temporary power connection, you can connect directly here. Just remember it is not protected and not managed by the WattBox itself. It is just like a simple power socket. When we speak about the status LEDs, just to explain those features which WattBox supports. First of all, safe voltage. Safe voltage is referring to input voltage which we get from the main electrical network, and this option is something what can be enabled or disabled. That can be done in OVRC. I will show you that at the end of the presentation. If we enable safe voltage, that means we are telling to WattBox to accept only input voltage in certain range, like appropriate voltage range on the input. If input voltage is lower or higher than that, in order to prevent further damage of the connected devices, WattBox will shut down completely. It's optional. It's optional feature, and you can disable it just to prevent that some fluctuation in voltage will shut down all devices connected to your WattBox. Surge protection, that is something what is completely supported on all the models, and it is predefined, pre-configured, built in by default, and it prevents any kind of high voltage peaks to pass through the WattBox and damage the units connected to it. And as long as surge protection is available and working on the WattBox, this LED should be on. If it is off, and by time surge protection can be unusable on the device, in that case it needs to be replaced with a new one which has active surge protection. Below is the rear side of the WattBox unit. Here we can see the 8 power outlets where we connect devices, and we have connection RJ45 ports where we can connect in the network. We connect a local network using the networking cable, and we have accessory port and UPS link which are currently not in use. So only network port you use to connect it to the network and to get IP address on your WattBox. So this is just explaining all the elements I already explained. And this is typical setup and installation of the 8 power outlet WattBox unit. It is one U rack unit, and it is typically set up in front side of the rack, so you can see this display in front. So the second model is a 6 power outlet WattBox. As you can see on this power outlet, this is front side, you don't have any display. So you don't have any information about the voltage, about the current, unless you go on OVRC and check the status of the power outlet. So you cannot see it directly on the display in the rack. For that reason, if we would like to see the readings of the power outlets, we can connect to this model, we can connect additional faceplate with the display and read the status in the rack. Regarding the connections, we have standard network accessory and UPS link. Network is used for connection to the local area network. Accessory port also uses a standard networking cable, UTP, but it is used for connection to the faceplate display. So if we would like to add that optional display in the rack, we can connect it through the accessory port. UPS link is still not in use. It is there, but still not developed for any specific purpose. Regarding the status LEDs, they are the same like on 8 power outlet, just with different name. So we have safe voltage if it is enabled or disabled, internet connection, system, if everything is up and running, it should always be on. If auto reboot is enabled, it will be on, safe voltage also. Then we have a surge protection. If it is up and running, it should be on, and grounding as well. So when we speak about installation, about 6 power outlet WattBox, it is really thin, and it can be easily placed in some smaller box, not just in the rack, like we can see on the left-hand side, in VersaBox in the wall, or in the rack. It can be all the way in front, or it can be placed deeper in the rack because there are a lot of space as it is really thin. Also, it can be placed on the desk or whatever you find it most suitable. As it doesn't require a lot of space, it is really easy to set it whenever you prefer. Very similar to this one, as you can see, when connections and status LEDs are in question, it's completely the same, is 12 WattBox power strip. This is the biggest WattBox we have. It provides 12 power outlets, and when we speak about the LED status LEDs and the connectors, it's completely the same. And also, as it doesn't have display built in, you can use through the accessory port, you can connect a faceplate with the display and to have that way in front of the rack status of the power consumption of the power outlets. Okay, so regarding the installation, typically 12 power outlet WattBox is placed vertically on the rack, on the rear side of the rack, and it is connected. If you would like to have on the front side of the rack status of the power outlets, you can connect using the network cable. You can connect it like it is shown in this picture from accessory port to the PDU port on the faceplate. You can connect it that way and have status on the display. This is the display itself. So as you can see, display looks quite similar to the front side of the 8 power outlet with integrated display. So you have the same status LEDs, voltage display, and current display, and you have 3 states to choose from using buttons B1 and B2. So as you notice, previous models, we had like 8 power outlet with display and 6 and 12 power outlet without the display. So this faceplate is compatible with 6 and 12 power outlet WattBox strips, and you can connect up to 3 WattBox units to a single faceplate. If you would like to check the specific status of the specific WattBox using buttons B1 and B2, you can cycle from 1 to 3 or 3 to 1 and select which WattBox you want to see, which status you want to see on the display itself. Also, it is not just providing the status of the WattBox. You have certain level of control through the faceplate as well. So when you select, for example, WattBox number 2, and if you press and hold B1 or B2 for like 5 seconds, it will restart WattBox. So you do not need to go back into the rack, unplug the WattBox. You can do it directly from front side from the faceplate itself. And also, if you have multiple WattBox connected, like all 3 connected, if you press and hold B1 and B2 button all together and keep it pressed for 5 seconds, in that case, it will restart all connected WattBox units to the faceplate. So faceplate provides certain level of control of WattBoxes connected on the rear side of the rack as well. Also, faceplate provides unmanaged power outlet for temporary connection, the same way like 8 power outlet unit, and you have 2 additional USB power sockets for a width maximum 1.5 ampere on each of them. How faceplate is connected? I already explained this when I was speaking about 6 and 12 power outlets. You use accessory port from 6 or 12 power outlet WattBox and connect it to PDU connection 1, 2, and 3. Always start from the beginning because faceplate can update its firmware only through the port 1. So you always start from the port 1 when you are connecting the WattBox units. Accessory ports on the faceplate itself are not still in use. This is example of the 3 WattBox units, how they can be connected in the rack. So we can see 2 times 12 port, 12 power outlet units vertically positioned and 1 6 power outlet positioned horizontally, and they are all connected from accessory port to the faceplate. So through the faceplate, you see status of all 3 WattBox units, and you can restart them from the faceplate itself. So regarding the previous 3 units, what is common for them is the power budget. So regardless on the number of the power outlets, do we have 6, 8, or 12? Our maximum current rating for the input and for the output connection is 10 amperes. So if we are using 220 volts on the main electrical network, our total power budget for the 6, 8, or 12 power outlet is 2.2 kilowatts. So 2.2 kilowatts is power budget for any of those 3 models. The smallest one, the power WattBox with 2 power outlets, it has slightly lower power budget available because maximum current which is available per input and output ports is 6 amperes. So if we are using, for example, 220 volts on the main network, we have around 1320 watts power budget together on both power outlets used from this model. Also, the smallest WattBox unit with 2 power outlets is also specific in one more side, and it is a network connection. This is the only WattBox unit which can be connected over Wi-Fi as well. Of course, it has network connection for the wired connection, but it also supports a wireless connection using 2.4 gigahertz for the Wi-Fi connection. As it is smallest in size, the WattBox unit, the small WattBox unit can be installed in, for example, a VersaBox in the wall. And the typical use case would be to control, for example, a router and digital receiver, which are the most critical units in any residential project, which tends to get stuck. So they need often a restart in order to work. This is example how we can pack, for example, small 2 power outlet WattBox with a router in the single VersaBox, and also we can connect it behind the TV and connect TV to the WattBox as well. Also, it can be used with security panels, with video surveillance, practically anywhere where you can fit it in the box of the size of this 2 power outlet WattBox. As it is quite small, it can fit almost anywhere. And this is the additional accessory which we announced at IC this year. It's still not available, but it should be available soon. It is WattBox Trigger. WattBox Trigger is compatible with 6 and 12 power outlet WattBox, and it is connected through accessory port, the same way how faceplate is connected. And as it is connected out of band, it is not on the local network. Even when complete local network fails, if you cannot reach WattBox over the IP address, you can use button dedicated to this trigger to reboot WattBox units which are behind in the rack. So it is just like a trigger relay contact which is rebooting the WattBox like a last resort in troubleshooting. So this is a quick overview of the specifications of the different WattBox models. As you can see, they are more or less all the same. They are all supporting surge protection, They all have voltage protection rating. They all support safe voltage as additional feature. What is different is power budget. As I mentioned, 6, 8, and 12 WattBox units, they support up to 10 amperes on the outlet, while a smaller 2-power outlet supports up to 6 amperes. And 8 power outlet and 12 power outlet units, they support also additionally noise filtration against EMI and RF interference. So they provide voltage conditioning as well for stable voltage without any noise on the signal itself. That is available only on 8 and 12 power outlet. It is built in the unit, so you do not need to enable it specifically. Generally, more or less, all the features, main features like surge protection and safe voltage, they are supported across all models in WattBox range. Regarding the implementation, the WattBox is practically intended to be used in the rack and to connect low power consumers which are in the rack, like routers, switches, amplifiers, etc. So any device which is not consuming too much energy, because as I mentioned, we are quite limited on 2.2 kilowatts, for example, from the WattBox in total. So definitely for what we shouldn't use, the WattBox are washing machines, refrigerators, and any high energy consumers in the house. So WattBox is practically supporting network infrastructure, smart home automation infrastructure. And that way we have additional way of control if IP network fails. Also, how WattBox shouldn't be connected is daisy chain. So we always need to connect end devices to the WattBox and not to daisy chain to connect one WattBox to the another, because that can easily cause overload and WattBox can flip to protection mode with overcurrent. Regarding the budgeting of the devices which can be connected to the WattBox, we need, in order to be sure that WattBox is providing enough power, we need to know what is the power consumption of each device which connects to WattBox. So for example, if we have some device which has like 3.15 amperes on 230 volts, it uses like 700 watts from the WattBox. As our 2-power outlet WattBox, for example, it works on 240 volts input voltage. On 6 amperes, it will provide like 1,440 watts. As 700 watts is lower than this, then definitely we can connect this type of device to our 2-power outlet WattBox. Just when we are budgeting the devices connected to the WattBox, always have in mind not to specify devices to fully utilize maximum power available from WattBox itself. The good practice is to have up to 80% of the maximum wattage used from the WattBox, just in case, to prevent any potential overloading, or to provide maybe some future growth with some small additional devices connected in the project. So always specify the 80% of maximum power budget from WattBox and not connect devices which can utilize potentially more power than that. So I explained at the beginning that full utilization of the WattBox and all the features are available through the OVRC. I can show you, for example, how a local web interface of WattBox looks like. So this is my local web interface, and as you can see here, I have just the basic control of my power outlets. I can restart, enable it, or disable it, or reset all at once. And here in configuration, I can just change the IP address, login credentials, enable HTTPS, and do factory default, or do configuration backup or restore the configuration. And here I can do the firmware update. And that is all what I can do from direct web interface of the WattBox itself. But WattBox provides much more options available, just not on the local web interface, but on OVRC. So I can show you how it looks like on OVRC. So I first go to the customer site. And in the device list, I find my WattBox. Here, as I have a Arachnis router in the network, and also I have Control4 controller, I have OVRC Pro Agent, and in this case, I do not need manually to add my WattBox. They will be automatically discovered. But in cases where I don't have neither Arachnis router, neither Control4 controller, I need to add manually my WattBox using the MAC address. And when I put MAC address, it will ask me for serial number, and then it will be added to my project. So my WattBox is already added here. So I will find it from the list. Here it is. And here I can see all of the main information about my WattBox, and I see direct control of my power outlets. Have in mind that OVRC access is fully available from whenever you are located. It is just enough that WattBox is online and registered to OVRC. So you can do this from your office or from wherever. In configuration, first of all, what we can configure is name of the power outlet. Typically, we can name the power outlet by the device which is connected to it. So we immediately know what power outlet controls which device. We can restrict how power outlet can be controlled. We can disable completely switching on or off of the power outlet, or we can just enable a restart. If we select a network device, that means we can only restart the power outlet. We cannot switch it off permanently. And the last option, it is quite important, is power on delay. Power on delay prevents that all devices connected from WattBox starts pulling the power at the same time, and to prevent that initial overload. So here you can define the order how devices are starting up from the WattBox, which means when my WattBox is up, after 1 second, it will start up the router. 6 seconds after that, it will start the switch. 1 second after switch, it will start the COM server, etc., etc. So the only limitation here is that you cannot go above 600 seconds, and you cannot have two devices with the same time. So you cannot boot up 2 devices simultaneously. You always need to have at least 1 second difference. That is the main setup in the configuration. Just got out. Here you have option to set up the IP address. Is it static or DHCP? Quite basic. Time setting for the time zone. You can set up the notification, so you can define acceptable range for the voltage, power, and current. So if for any reason some power outlet gets out of the acceptable range, you will be notified from the OVRC. And here is the option for the safe voltage. I already explained self voltage when I was speaking about the status LEDs. So you can select one of those 3 input voltage ranges, and when you select it and enable it, if input voltage on the WattBox is out of that range, it will completely shut down the WattBox to prevent further damage because of the inappropriate voltage on the input. You can change the LED brightness if it is device with display. In this case, I have 8 power outlet, so I can change the LED brightness here, and you can enable or disable telnet control. So telnet control would be typically disabled because of the security precaution. So just to prevent any unauthorized access over port 23 over telnet. But if you would like to use WattBox together with some home automation system, for example, with Control4, you have to have it enabled because Control4 driver is speaking over this port in order to control WattBox through the home automation system. And those are the main options for the WattBox itself. When we are speaking about control of the power outlet itself, we have like a 3 levels of control. First and the easiest is manual control. You manually switch certain outlet on or off. The second is schedule, where I can schedule a certain power outlet to go on or off, or to reset at certain times. So for example, communication server, I can say repeat every Monday at 1 p.m. And this way my WattBox will reboot my com server every Monday at 1 p.m. Typically, this is used for devices, just a second, for devices which cannot be which tends to drop from the network if they are not regularly restarted. So this way you can prevent that the device drops offline. Let me try to select some other time, maybe 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. Okay. So it is just important when you are setting up the schedule that you don't have 2 schedules running at the same time, because that is not possible. So you have to have different times for each of the schedule. When a schedule is in question, as you saw, you have option to select not just the simple on or off, but to restart of the device as well. So I just need to wait until this WattBox comes back online because it restarted. Okay, seems fine now. Okay, and I can easily, when I create schedule, I can easily enable it or disable it. So that is the scheduling of the power outlets. And the third, the most advanced way of power outlet control is auto reboot. Auto reboot, in fact, provides possibility that your WattBox itself knows when to reboot certain device, and typically it is most commonly used with the router. If you drop internet connection, if router drops internet connection, WattBox can be configured to ping some public IP addresses, some Google or Yahoo or whatever. And if this ping drops, it will restart the router and that way try to get your site back online. So even in situations where your site is completely offline, completely unreachable remotely, WattBox is able to return it back online and to provide again remote access to your site. So I have a short video clip explaining this scenario where you will see installation with and without OVRC. how auto reboot is done in this video clip is through the WattBox. As you can see, even if site is completely offline, WattBox can regain the access, and that way really save your time and prevent any site visit. So it is enabled on OVRC. You have this button, Enable Auto Reboot. And first, what we need to do is to configure the hosts. That means IP addresses which are pinged to test is device online or offline. In this case, I have, for example, NVR on this IP address. And by reachability of this IP address, I can define should my NVR be restarted or not if it drops offline. Of course, here immediately I can test the IP address just to verify it is online at the moment. When we are speaking about the router reachability, it can be pinged against its local IP address. But what is the most commonly used is some public IP addresses, like public sites, which are always responding to ping. And if ping fails to those sites, that means our uplink failed and we need to restart our router or modem or whatever we connected on our WattBox. So that is how the modem is automatically restarted on video clip we saw, and that regained the access to the site that customer didn't even notice that internet failed during the night. So first we need to define the host and IP address which we ping against. Then we need to link the host and the power outlet which is restarted. So in this case, I would like to restart my router if my ping 1 and ping 2 fails because they are pointing to outside IP addresses. And I would like to restart my NVR if only NVR is not responding to ping. So when that is finished, I enable the auto reboot. My WattBox will start rebooting those devices depending on the ping response. We also have option for fine tuning waiting for the ping and the number of attempts. So we can define the timeout interval, how much time WattBox waits for ping response for each of the ping, how many times it sends the ping before it declares devices offline, how much time it waits before it starts to reboot device next time if after first reboot the device is not online, and at the end we define the number of attempts, how many times the WattBox will try to reboot the device before it stops. By default it will be 0, but if we have some failure of the cable or cable is disconnected and simply we cannot get device back online just with the reboot. If we put number 0, WattBox will indefinitely start to reboot power outlet. So typical value which we put here is 3 to 5, because if device is not online after 5 reboots, most probably it cannot be recovered to be online just by the reboot, and only in that case we have to visit site and see what's going on. So that is all. What is available from the WattBox itself. As you can see, it is quite powerful device, providing full power control on all the devices connected in the rack, even if you lose internet connection, even when you don't have any way to remotely access it, and also prevents site visits where you just need to go on site and reset a certain device to get it back online. But beside that, it is protecting all devices connected to that with surge protection, with voltage condition, with safe voltage as well. So if there is any potential problem in the main electrical network, it is preventing that high voltage go through the WattBox and burn out maybe some device connected to the WattBox itself. Okay, so that is all I have prepared for today. Do you have any questions for me related to the WattBox or maybe OVRC?